Hello, this is RV Vagabond Jerry, and today I'm doing Rocky Mountain National Park, which is northwest of Denver. And I'm entering the park from the west entrance and making my way up around the northern part of the park, which is the only place where there is a paved road that you can go over to the town of Estes Park at the east entrance. So come along with me and I'll give you my perspective of Rocky Mountain National Park, Colorado. Entering the park from the west, you'll see several stopping points of various trailheads. This one I'm at is the Colorado River trailhead that goes quite a few miles, mostly along between the road and the river. The first stopping point, or actually point of interest along this trailhead, is the Colorado River. And as you can see, at this point, the Colorado River is pretty small compared to what you may have seen in lower Colorado and Arizona. And it is running very swiftly. It's also not deep at all. It's pretty shallow here, so it might, I guess it would be okay for floating in a raft, but probably maybe not in an inner tube where your feet might be hitting rocks on the bottom. It must be going considerably downhill to be flowing this swiftly. You can see those rocks down there. Well, I'm going to head up the road and see what's the next point of interest. Well, after leaving that Colorado River trail, the road got very windy and very steep, which brought me up to this point, 10,120 feet elevation where I'm standing, and a really nice view of the snow-capped mountains in the distance. And it looks like I have more elevation here to go. A few more miles up the road here is Milner Pass, 10,758 foot elevation. And there's a nice looking lake here. And this is right at the Continental Divide, if you know what that is, although there's really nothing to see regarding the Continental Divide. It just is what it is. Well, guess where my motorhome is now? Look at that pile of snow. This is the Alpine Visitor Center, and they have a restaurant here which is at 11,796 elevation. This is the scenery behind the visitor center, and I bet the snow does not melt all year long. Looks like it'd be a good ski run there. This is another stopping point just a little ways up from the visitor center, and it is called Gore Range, and it is located just before you get to the highest elevation in the park, which is right there, 12,183. But there is not a pull-off right there where you can stop and say, take a picture at the highest elevation point. You'd have to do it outside your window. Another stopping point here is the Forest Canyon Overlook. I think I can probably get a better view up there. That 12,813 elevation I showed you earlier was the highest point you can drive to. But here is a peak that is 12,922. And there may even be higher peaks. I bet there are, 13,000 something. They've got an overlook set up here. And I think you're not supposed to go out there. Yeah, I don't think that's an official access. And look how rocky this is. Just a big pile of boulders. Here's some of the local residents. There's another stopping point where you don't see any snow. How about that? Until you get to the real high elevations there. Well, guess what has attracted all of these people's attention? That's the rear view. Gotta keep quiet. I found a pretty sight on the side of the road here on the way to Bear Lake. Glistening in the afternoon sunlight. Boy, look at this. People get so excited about seeing some kind of animals on the side of the road. I'm going to take a video of your bear.
Oh, sure.
Well, it turns out it was a bear they were looking at. This guy's got a picture of it on his camera. The rest of us missed it. That's all it was just one bear. The first time I saw one of these signs coming into their parking lot, I got kind of excited until I went into their visitor center and asked them, how do I get a parking permit? Well, as it turns out, you don't get a parking permit, you get a backpacking permit. So, to park overnight in their parking lot, it's only for backpackers going in to tent camp for the night. So they told me that you cannot sleep in any vehicle. Now they said you can park your RV here overnight, but you cannot sleep in it. You have to backpack in to one of their designated tent camping sites. And not only that, you have to reserve a camping space for your tent and pay a camping fee. Assuming they even have a space available for you, because all of these campsites that you hike like 1 or 2 or 3 miles to, they're all have to be reserved. Now I think you could get away with sleeping in your RV providing you don't answer the door if anybody knocks. Now, they said you could park your RV overnight in the parking lot, providing you're going tent camping and backpacking. And I think you could sleep in your RV, actually, if you don't answer the door. You don't show any evidence that anybody is in it, because you're supposed to be off tent camping somewhere. But even having an RV parked in the parking lot overnight, I think it'd be very suspicious. Even if you have a permit sticker on your windshield. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to drive into the town of Estes Park and find a place to park there overnight. So let me show you the park map. I entered from the southwest here, and the road just goes up to the north side of the park and over to here. The town of Estes Park is here. And other than that, the only other road is down here, which goes to Bear Lake. So the large majority of the park, in the northern section, there's no roads. And all of this, there are no roads that go to, I would say, 99% of the park. And in taking this road, I stopped at all of the stopping points that I thought looked really interesting. There are a lot of others, but it's really just looking across meadows or mountains. So the park is really best for hikers and backpackers. There are trails just all over the place here, even in the northern range. Oh look, they're calling it the Mummy Range. I wonder why that is. But there are hiking trails up here. So that's about it for Rocky Mountain National Park. If you're a hiker, backpacker, you would get a lot more out of it. But I think I've given you a good perspective of it. Good day, folks.